going to keep that going for Marrufo. Give it up.
Hey, thanks for coming out. All right, let's hear it for Sailor Rowdy. Last time I saw him at a show, he said I was being too loud. So after I saw him at another show, and I wrote a note to him on my phone, so let me just read you that. I was like, hey, I have autism. I couldn't tell if you were serious or just fucking with me. LOL, scrunched up face emoji. I think the look on his face said he was just fucking with me, but I can't tell. I don't know. I actually usually like to start off with a quote, and today's quote is, "Give me a dick long enough and I shall fuck the world." And that was a quote from my favorite Greek philosopher, Kendrick Lamar Archimedes. Thank you. All right, speaking of dicks, I used to live at home for a few years after dropping out of college, like our first comedian tonight, and my dad used to watch these awful shows on True TV. One of them was called Hardcore Pawn. It's basically like Pawn Stars, except without any of the things that made that show good. So one time these people brought in what they said were walrus peni, and I was like, no, you're already wrong twice. First of all, the plural of penis isn't peni, it's just penises. If you want to use the original Latin pluralization, it's penis, but nobody does that, so fuck you. Secondly, it wasn't actually the walrus's penis, it was a bone in the walrus's penis called a baculum that helps it maintain an erection. Most mammals have this bone. Our ancestors used to have it, but we lost it because of evolution, but that's a completely different story. Look, I'm not sure you guys fully appreciate the picture I'm trying to paint here, all right? Like I said, most mammals have this bone, and it comes in all sizes depending on the species, but on a walrus, it's like at least 2 feet long. It's at least as big as a human femur. I don't know if you knew this, but a walrus can suck its own dick, all right? It doesn't even have to bend over. It just has to, like, tilt its head forward slightly. Walruses aren't that flexible, people. Come on. All right, so I was gonna say all that, but I just kept my mouth shut because I didn't want my dad asking me how I knew so much about penises. All right, ironically, I don't have a transition into this next bit, but let's talk about trans issues. Come on. We support trans rights in this house, right? Any fans of the trans here? Come on. Do we stand the trans here? Come on. All right, that's enough of that. I know some people back there going, this is a comedy show, not a political rally. All right, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. In case you can't tell, I am not trans, so I know I gotta be careful when I talk about this stuff, because, I'm not concerned about offending anyone, except maybe bigots, whatever, fuck them. But you can get into unfunny territory really quickly, because things are still really shitty for trans people in this country, but it does seem like they're getting better little by little. Like, I'm glad now, at least, trans people can just say that they're trans on their online dating profiles. They don't have to keep it a secret for months and then come out to their partners on Jerry Springer because they're afraid of getting murdered. No, you're right. They just wanted to be on TV. That's why they subjected themselves to that environment. Okay, I know trans people still get murdered all the time, but, all I'm saying is now they can come out in places other than a room full of security guards. That's all I'm saying. All right, back to talking about myself. This shouldn't really matter, but I am straight, and I almost shouldn't have to say this, but I like trans women, and that doesn't make me any less straight. There are maybe other things that make me less than 100% straight, but I kind of already went into that in the last joke. It's not a fetish. I'm not a chaser or anything. It's just that I like women, and trans women are women. Therefore, by the transitive property... All right. Thank you. I actually had a crush on a trans woman once. Nothing really happened between us except we did make out once, which was pretty awesome. It was very romantic. We were in my 1998 Nissan Pathfinder. I had NPR playing on the radio, like you do. I ended up telling my dad about this like a year later because he was pissing me off and I had been waiting for just the right time. You remember, yeah, my dad, you remember that guy from the last joke? He did not take this very well. Like, we were talking over text and you could almost hear the slurs he was shouting at his phone. Like, I can't be sure, but just from what he was saying afterwards, I think I might have made him cry. And you know what? I didn't make out with a trans woman just to make my dad cry. That was just a fringe benefit. All right, I'll leave you with this. I talk shit about my dad, but hey, I don't have any kids. I don't want kids, I don't even think I'd make a good parent. Like, I can just see it now. Be woken up by that 7 a.m. phone call. Your daughter wants to speak to you, because I have a daughter in this joke, and I think women with deep voices are hot, which you might have been able to guess from the last joke. I'll just be like, sorry Daddy didn't come home last night, sweetie. Daddy has dumb bitch disease. Daddy was tired after the open mic, so he parked in an HEB parking lot to take a nap because he didn't want to fall asleep behind the wheel and crash the car again. So, but the battery died because he fell asleep with the radio on. So now he has to wait for someone to come and give him a jump start. And my daughter would just be like, Daddy, why are you referring to yourself in the third person? And I'll just be like, that's my girl. Thank you. Good night.